Hello, it's Rowan Ravenwolf with Triple Goddess Apothecary and Reiki. I'm kind of in my favorite spot. I'm going to talk about two things here today. There are some amazing, I hope you're like, there we go, amazing headstones. So a lot of these headstones, the people in this particular area were buried in the late 1890s to early, like up to 1940s. So there are some pretty amazing people buried here. Again, like there we go. We've got the Order of the Eastern Star and the Freemasons. So there's a family buried there. Forest Home Cemetery, I see tons of that. I love that the cemetery is so open that they allow this. So, before we go on, you know what? Let me talk about the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard, because there is a huge difference. And so I'm going to actually also show you this building. So here we go. Here's a building. It is the chapel. It's non-denominational. Oh, they need to fix the roof. All right. So with, sorry, that was a fast, sorry if I made you dizzy. Because I'm going to do a whole separate video on that particular monument. I didn't want to spoil it. So the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard is consecrated ground, and it is typically all people of one denomination. So it can be all Catholics, it can be all Lutherans, it can be all Jewish, but it is one denomination of one religious or spiritual path. So you're only going to see in that particular cemetery, you're only going to see that particular group of people with their belief. And there's also going to be a church. It is a consecrated and sacred church. And a consecrated and sacred church is a lot of times where they can have, Sunday or Saturday church, or they will have just funerals there. But it is consecrated for that particular religion or spiritual aspect. So I'm going to kind of go back. We're going to look at this chapel. So this chapel is non-denominational. Some cemeteries will have a chapel, but this has nothing, there is nothing inside on the walls. There are no crosses, no stars of David, there's no pentagrams, pentacles, nothing like that. It is extremely plain inside. And so this is a cemetery. So the difference is that a graveyard is connected with a specific religious belief, and it is sacred ground that has been blessed by a priest, a rabbi, etc. Where a cemetery is non-denominational, anybody can be buried here, and not only can anybody just be buried here, it's also where it's like if a vampire's chasing you, you want to make sure you go into the graveyard, not the cemetery, right? Okay, so that again, that's myth. You can find out for sure if you want, aggravate a vampire. So this chapel is actually quite old. It's been standing, I cannot remember the date, but it's been here for quite a long time. There are a ton of spirits inside. So the company I do paranormal investigations with, and the reason I do paranormal investigations is because of the fact that I am clairsentient and clairvoyant. I am able to communicate with the spirits, and so it makes the paranormal events actually pretty fun. So Afterlife Tours has a couple of us that are sensitives, but this is the chapel. The chapel is extremely active with spirit activity, and I'm going to actually show you this. So I was the last manager at Forest Home. She left partway through last year. There's a new manager, and we haven't been able to get inside the chapel since, but the old manager would let us in the chapel, and she actually took us on a tour. So we were doing paranormal investigations in the upstairs where funerals are held, but down here, sorry, the energy here is really, really strong. The spirits are talking to me. Down here, especially this area right here, At one point, this was an active cemetery where they would do cremations. And so a lot of people were cremated here. There is, under the stairs to go into the basement, there is a lot of remains that were never picked up by family. So we tried, Afterlife Tours did try to help identify and see if we could bury them. There are like a lot of laws in Illinois. So in Illinois, you have to be a family member. You have to be the family member that purchased the ashes, and then you have to identify them. The ashes have been down there for so long that unfortunately, a lot of them are not recognized. So there's a lot of sadness. They just want to have like their family members acknowledge them and love them. And so there is quite a bit of sadness from those spirits, but a lot of spirits are there, and we had a lot of great stuff. So if you want to ever do a paranormal tour, check out Afterlife Tours Incorporated out of Illinois. So if you're in Illinois, there is another company called Afterlife. They're not incorporated. They're out of like Georgia or South Carolina, one of those two states. I cannot remember which one, but so really cool tours are with Afterlife. You may run into me in person. So if not, you would run into my counterpart, who's really cool. I won't say his name because I didn't get permission, but he's really awesome. So it is fun to go on the tours when you've got somebody who is sensitive or medium, because we can like stop and say, okay, let's do something here. So, all right. As always, thanks for joining me on this video to learn about cemeteries and graveyards and the difference. Blessed be, and namaste.